All right, hi everybody. Welcome to another devlog. This one is all about particles. So we're not in TFS today. We're in a separate project so that we can concentrate on just looking at these particles and trying to make them do what we want. I would like to put this stuff into TFS, but it's pretty, at scale, it's a lot. And TFS is already a lot. So you mix the two together, and you don't have enough CPU to run it all. So I wanted to break this out into its own project. So here we've got a bunch of particles. There are 3,200 of them, in fact. So right now, Unity's actually really good with particles. In fact, here, let's zoom out a little bit, and I'll enable another set of particles. This is 100,000 in addition to the 3,200 that we've got in the middle here. This is 100,000 additional particles, just to show that Unity is perfectly capable of rendering a crap ton of particles and still have ample frame rate left over for it. So let me turn these off because I don't need them. And so today we're going to be concentrating on these particular particles, however, and they have some collision logic built into them. So here, let me turn on collision, and there we go. So these are bound to this 1 meter cube. So these are like 5 centimeter particles floating around in this 1 meter cube, and they're pretty happy with that. So to get that to work, I've got a few things going on. This whole thing stemmed from, I don't know if you guys watched the last video that I had with the helicopter and everything. In that video, I had like a box full of like, well, I say full, but I had a box of like some packing peanuts in a cardboard box, and it was such a meager supply of packing peanuts, almost an embarrassing amount of. I think there was like 100 or something, and they had really cool movement, but it just wasn't enough. I need more peanuts than that. And so I started down this trail of like, well, how do I scale these things? What can I do to make more peanuts on the screen? And so I looked into alternate physics systems, specifically PBD or position-based dynamics, to try to get something that can move particles around and do the collision constraints. And then also looked into the Unity job system and the burst compiler. So with those three things, I was able to scale up to, like I said, about 3,200 or so. If I go much higher than that, then you start to get frame rate hits and whatnot. Here, instead of letting you guys just stare at these boring, not moving particles, let me move them around a little bit. You can see them in action. Um, so they pretty violently react, I guess, to the size of the cube here. Let me expand it a little bit. So I've got like an upper and a lower bound that determine the volume, and I can either move the whole thing around or I can move those corner points. Um, so here we go. Nice moving particles, and they're all cool and all. So that's most of what this video is going to be is just kind of monkeying around with these particles and showing you guys what I've been playing with. This isn't really anything groundbreaking. This stuff is stuff that's been done by other people. There are probably better videos out there than mine. This is just my particular version of it, and the things that I've been playing with and learning in this process. All right. So we got a bunch of particles, and we can move them around, and they bounce off each other, and they bounce off the walls of the bounding box or area. All right, so we can add some gravity to this. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, actually, let me flatten this thing out first. We'll go 2D with it, because that's kind of a cool effect. So here, let me flatten this out. squash these guys down to just a 2D thing. And again, they react fairly violently. Here, they don't even stabilize. Now, what's amazing about this physics system, the PBD physics, is that it is incredibly stable. This doesn't look stable, but these aren't getting out of this box. They're incredibly unstable as they move wildly inside of this box. And if I extend these bounds just a little bit and give them enough space, then then they'll very quickly. I don't even know what you call that. Condense. It seems like you're going from like, from one state, like one crazy state, condensing down into like a whole nother state. So yeah, it reminds me of like, you know, like water condensation or actually it kind of reminds me of the background radiation, the cosmic background radiation map of the universe. Maybe this is like the Big Bang. Everything's all squished up and then. Anyway, I'm just making that up, so don't count this as a science lesson or anything. So okay, let's add some gravity to let's add a little bit of gravity to this. All right, so now we've got some gravity, and still things are still pretty violent, just because of the way that I'm moving the bounds around. It's it's very instantaneous as it changes position. So let me put a speed limit on the particles so they don't like explode from one side to the other. So we'll add a bit of a speed limit here, and so that's a lot smoother, yeah. And we get this nice, cool, like wavetable kind of thing going on here. This is pretty slick. Bounce these guys up and down, and slosh them back and forth, and you get some really cool effects being shown. I'll just grab one side, toss some, toss some of the fluid over to the other side. Really cool. Um, I've really enjoyed this like set of videos and getting into this kind of stuff. There's a lot of learning that I have to do, and that's always exciting. All right. Let's see. What else do we want to do? So I do have. So these particles they still will respond to external forces like particle forces. Like here's some wind force. Um, I can crank this up a little bit to the point where where I should be able to like lift them up off the ground. All right, let's go a little stronger. There we go. So yeah, these particles are responding to this wind zone that I've got set up here, and it's not. They don't respond perfectly because the particles are using substepping in the physics to make them run a little bit better and a little bit more smooth. And the unity particle system is not on the same substepping, and so you get sometimes it matches up nicely, and other times you end up with um, a pretty big discrepancy between when Unity processes its particle physics and when uh, the PBD algorithm that I've got is processing its physics, and you end up with some pretty cool like explosion effects and things. You'll see them a little bit later. Here, let me turn off the wind. I've got like a little fountain also that I can turn on. Let me line it up. There we go. Okay, so we've got like this little particle field fountain. I can raise or lower the top here. All very cool. All very cool. Okay, so let's go back to 3D. And I guess shrink up these bounds a little bit. We've still got our fountain running. Let's put it in the middle. So that's all pretty cool. But yeah, it needs a little something. Let's add some friction to the boundary walls. So here's a little boundary wall friction. And actually, let me turn off the fountain for now. So, like I said, I was trying to get the some packing peanuts. That's really the effect that I was going for. Was just I just want to get these packing peanuts working. And so here's I guess here's what packing peanuts would look like. I do like the fountain though. I kind of prefer the fountain to the packing peanuts. Let's see. All right, so in addition to that, let's turn this. So I've got these boundaries set up so that I can actually turn them on an angle. So here, let's put this at 45 so that we feed our fountain continuously. That's pretty slick. So 3,200 particles all colliding and doing their thing. Kind of neat. All right, what else can we do? Oh, this is a cool setting that I discovered accidentally. It's kind of like a cohesion. Um, so here, check that out. That's pretty cool. So you've got like cohesiveness between all the little particles. They want to stay attached to each other. If they're within a certain distance, then they connect and share momentum, and it makes them kind of stick together. And you get kind of a really cool soap bubble, like foam effect. So yeah, back to like I said, I was trying to get 3,000. I was trying to get as many particles to run as I could, and I settled on about 3,000 before the frame rate starts to dip. I'd like to scale it more, but I think I'm running out of like things to do. I got into to playing around with the Unity job system. So this is running. Let me see. Let me double check. I think these are 400 particle jobs. Um, Actually, I can go. Let me go lower than that. Let me do like 100 particle jobs. I don't think it'll look any different really, but it may run just a hair faster. Um, so yeah, that's running 100 particle jobs there, and frame rate is still above 60, about 70 frames per second. So doing pretty good considering it's 3,200 particles. I can't help but be a little bit disappointed because I would love to go just bigger and bigger, more and more particles. Since Unity can render them, I hate that my code is too slow to max it out. But that's just where we are. If anybody's got any tips with regard to speed ups, like I said, I'm running this through the Unity job system and also the Burst compiler, which both of which gave a really significant increase in speed. So that's a new tool for the toolbox. I should be able to utilize that in some stuff in TFS. So excited about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it. So Burst compiler, job system, and if you guys haven't checked out position-based dynamics, the PBD stuff or XPBD, then definitely go check out Matthias Mueller's 10-minute physics page, and he's got some of his own videos on top of that, and just fantastic material. Um, Basically, and I don't want to butcher this too bad, but basically it's a simple system of modeling physics where you use constraints to move the position of the particles. So like, for example, when it hits the boundary, instead of trying to manipulate forces and velocities, you just move the position of the particle inside, to where the constraint says it needs to be. So if it's outside of the boundary, you just move it to inside the boundary. And then after that, you adjust the velocity to be what the velocity would have had to have been to do that movement. And so it's really stable. It's very fast, and it's just really outstanding for doing this kind of particle work. But yeah, check out the 10-minute physics videos. Some of them are just really amazing. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today's video. Just playing around with some particles. Here, let me crank these up a little bit. Let me turn off the air drag and just let them blast out of here. So now we got like some kind of slime. That's pretty neat. Anyway, like I said, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, play around with particles. They're cool. Talk to you later.